office assists research work among students and the teachers who need assistance on how to go about their research. The office facilitates scholarly engagement in doing research writing, publishing, and presentations.
It was helpful to have someone I could ask all the doubts I had about everything from big to small. Guidance that helped to shape my thought process and to express it correctly. Also, I received resources in the form of books and references. And lastly, I did not have to feel afraid or hesitant in any way that my questions may sound silly, and I could talk in an open and free manner.
The development of the community, the nation, depends on its continuing education and research progress in all the study disciplines. Hence, our research should attempt international comparison in terms of standard and quality. The Research and Innovation Office strives to develop innovative ideas that can incorporate with the educational policies and institutional structure, facilitating a quality research culture. Welcome to be a part of us. All are welcome to communicate with us. We're here to assist you in your endeavor to an academic journey.
Well, once again, I would like to thank you all. Good morning and welcome once again for another important webinar on this Sunday morning. I hope and pray that you all are safe and healthy. I hope you are taking precautions and doing everything that you can to stay away from the consequences that we have due to the pandemic. Well, on behalf of the Office of Research and Innovation at Spicer Adventist University, I would like to thank you all and welcome you for being part of this program. And in a special way, I welcome our beloved Vice Chancellor, Dr. Sanjeevan Arsud, who has been with us in every single webinar supporting research and research-related events at Spicer University. Thank you, Sir Dr. Sanjeevan, for supporting research activities at Spicer, and that's why we have promotional videos and all that we can do to engage each one of you to involve in research affairs. I would also like to welcome our guest presenter this morning, Dr. Jacqlene Johnson, for joining us. Even though it is midnight for her, she accepted our invitation to speak to us on a very important topic. And I pray that you may you present to us and that presentation be a blessing to each one of us. Let us begin with a word of prayer followed by the remaining program. Father in heaven, we come before you, thanking you and praising your name, dear Lord, for the manifold blessings that you have showered upon each one of us. Thank you for yet another day that you have privileged us with, given us the breath of life and the determination and the strength to go on with this day, with the challenges of this day, and the call that you have made for us to fulfill. Thank you so much for everything that you have done for us so far, dear Lord. And as we assemble here to learn yet another new aspect that is so much essential for each of us as we engage in reading, writing, and being part of the research community. Lord, thank you so much for giving us this privilege to be part of this program, and thank you so much for Dr. Jacqlene to join us and to help us in enlightening our mind to understand research from a different perspective, which is not just mental, but also physical. Thank you so much, dear Lord, as we all are here. I pray that your blessings will be upon each one of us. Bless the presenter and each one of us as we participate. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. With this, now I would like to give this time to our respected Vice Chancellor, Dr. Sanjeevan Arsud, who would give the opening remarks for the webinar. Sir, over to you.
Good morning, Dr. Jacqlene Johnson, members of the faculty. This morning, in fact, it's an evening around 12:30 for Dr. Johnson, early morning 12:30 for Dr. Johnson. I'm so glad that we could organize this webinar and concentrate on important topic, especially for research. As all of us are aware, due to technological advancement, each one of us have different gadgets, and especially in research, we need to work in one place for at least 8 hours a day. And when such strenuous activities are performed, we need a seminar like this, which can guide us and help us to improvise on various physical movements, which will help in our well-being. Dr. Jacqlene, thank you very much for choosing to speak to us this morning. And I would also like to take this opportunity to thank you for all the support that you have given to Mr. Santosh when he was ill at Andrews University. Thank you very much on behalf of the university. May God bless you as you present the paper and do your work. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. Now, it is time that I introduce the speaker. Dr. Jacqlene Johnson is, Dr. Jacqlene Jacob Johnson is a licensed physical therapist in the United States of America, in the state of New Jersey. She was keen on being in the healthcare sector since she had an ankle injury, as she tells her story. And it was that very moment that she decided to become a physical therapist. Dr. Jacqlene completed her bachelor's in physiotherapy from MGM Institute of Health Sciences, India in 2007. And in the same year, she moved to the United States to pursue her education further and graduated with a Doctor of Physical Therapy from Andrews University, Michigan, USA in 2020. She is currently working as a physical therapist in the state of New York for the past 1 year, treating adult population in a subacute rehabilitation facility. And she has been working with adults with injuries and post-operation rehabilitation with chronic ailments to improve their functional abilities and make them independent. Her interest is to visit new places, sing and listen to songs, spend time with family and friends. And she hopes to be part of a society where each one is well educated to help and build each other mentally, physically, socially, and spiritually. And as Sir has already mentioned how kindly she has been responding to my sickness when I was in the US, I must say that Dr. Jacqlene has a wonderful spirit and a very ministering heart. I remember when I was really bad, with my health, it was her and a friend, Pastor Vadaprasad Giddy, who were there for me all the time. So I know Dr. Jacqlene in a very special way. She's a wonderful friend, a very kind-hearted person, and always willing to help. So Dr. Jacqlene, thank you so much for accepting this call. And on behalf of Spice Adventist University, I would like to thank you for joining us and bringing to us another important webinar. May God bless you, be with you in your ministry, and serve as you serve and minister His people. Now it is your time that you speak to each one of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for inviting me. This is such a big pleasure for me to present to you all. And I really hope that this helps each one of you as we work and do our research projects. So I'm just going ahead and sharing the PowerPoint presentation that I made. So the topic that most concerns each one of us is our health when we work. And how do we address this topic would be the ergonomical changes while we are at our workplace. So what is ergonomics? If you break down the word ergonomics, ergon means work and nomos means laws. So basically, if you see, as a human, we are interacting with the environment that we are working at, be it the computer that you're using, the table that you are having your computer on, the chair that you sit on, or the other people that you interact with. So everything that you work around, in a way, it determines how you function, how your health is. So basically, ergonomics is a discipline that would determine your interaction as a human with your work environment, and that would help optimize your health while you're at your workplace. So, most of us here must have heard about the term ergonomics, but they don't quite understand what it is. So, just to give you an example, if you see like a keyboard is of a particular shape, or if you see like a hook is of a particular shape, have you ever wondered why? So it is just so you are more comfortable and things are more convenient in order to improve your experience and your health while you use it. So if you see the benefits of ergonomics, how would learning about ergonomics help you in your workplace? The first one would be it would lower costs. So if people are not falling ill, or if their health is at a good place, they wouldn't take a sick leave, and you wouldn't be paid for a day that you're not working for. So basically, you would lower costs. There would be higher productivity in a way where when you have good health, you're able to be more productive, you're able to give in a better quality of work that you're presenting. Now, if I'm working on a research project and if I'm sick, I won't be able to put in my 100%, and that would show up on my paper. So, also, the fourth point right here is improved employee engagement, which is very important. Now, if I'm employed by a certain company or an agency or like an institution, I want to work for that institution for a reason. There is a reason why I am engaging with a work contract with them. So that would be because I am enjoying that work. It's my pleasure to work there, it's my passion. So if I have a good environment where I am engaged, I'm able to like communicate well with people, I'm having a healthy work environment, that is when that would make sure that I continue working with that institution. Also, the benefits would be it would be a better safety culture where you are making sure that your employees are in a safe environment. So now, when you think about ergonomics, the most common health aspect would be the physical health that you think about. But ergonomics is not only about the physical health, it is physical, mental, and social collaborative. So just to go over it, now in physical aspects, you have each one of us here have heard about BMI. So just so you go through it, BMI would be like your weight upon your height in meters square. Why is it important to know your BMI? Just in case if you don't fall in the right range, it is important to know the side effects of obesity or underweight. So if you fall in the right BMI range, you're able to carry on your work in a better way as compared to someone who was underweight or overweight. Also, your job capabilities would vary. Like if you were doing heavy manual tasks where even as a researcher, if you feel like, oh, I'm just visiting the library, I need some books to read over, and the book is really heavy, but you have like multiple books that you wanted to take and just read back home. If you're not lifting or if you're not holding the books in a proper way, if you're not assessing your posture in a way when you're sitting and reading it, that would affect your posture, your health. So, repetitive strains, sprains, postural corrections, all of these fall under the physical aspects of ergonomics. When you go to cognitive and mental aspects, very rarely people would ask you about are you being stressed at work, are you having a lot of pressure. Everyone does face some or the other kind of pressure at work, but not everyone responds to it well, and not everyone is vocal about it. So it is very important that you're able to manage your workload. Some stress is good no matter how bad it is, but it shouldn't come up to a level where you're deteriorating your health because of that. They say like performance pressure is another thing that affects your health. When you're basically trying to overdo or trying to be better than someone else, your colleague or your coworker, or just trying to be one step ahead of the other. Also, interaction between human and machines. So, a computer can definitely do something way faster than a human could. So, that puts a lot of pressure amongst us as well. When you go on to social aspects, every department, every institution works as a team. It is very important for each one of us to work with each other, cooperate, try to understand what the other person is wanting from us. So, when you're able to communicate, when you have a team, you have to interact with other people and also respect their decisions, their timings, and have a adhere to certain ethics of work. Now, most common signs of work induced postural imbalances. When you see when you're at work, like Sir said, we are supposed to sit for like 8 hours at a stretch without any break or something. You're most likely prone to back pain, neck pain, wrist issues, foot pain, headache, eye strain, insomnia. There are so many of us who take work back home. We're sitting on our laptops late at night and still wondering why we're not able to sleep. It's because of the screen time that we have. We sit for 8 long hours in one position, and then when we stand up, we feel, oh, I have a back pain, I have a neck pain, I'm not able to move well. So, these are some of the most common type of health issues that you will find amongst researchers. Now, how to process an ergonomical assessment in your workplace? So, there are 4 parts to it. The first and the most important is to assess a risk. When you know that this is a risk factor, you can then go forward and work on improving it. So, it is very important for each one of us to conduct an assessment of your workplace to see if it is conducive to each and every person who is working there. Now that you know the risk, you can plan an improvement towards reducing the risk of injuries. Thirdly, when you make improvements, you have to make sure that you're consistent. Now, for example, you know that sitting for 8 hours is a risk that can lead to back pain or some postural problems amongst a researcher. So you would improvise by saying that, okay, let's take a break every 1 hour. Let's just stand and move around. But if you do it one day, it's not enough. You have to be consistent and make sure that you take that break every hour, every day, so you don't worsen your condition. Now you know that this helps you, that taking that break every 1 hour helps you. So that is how you would widen your plan throughout your organization. So you're working towards the betterment of your organization and not just yourself. You know that something is working towards the betterment of your health, you would want your colleagues to feel better as well. Now, like in the previous slide, you see assessing a risk factor is the first and the foremost important part of an ergonomic assessment. So, what would you do to assess a risk? When you want to assess a posture, you would have like a working posture analysis or a rapid body analysis assessment. So you would see how a person is like when he stands up or when he's sitting. We have softwares designed basically to check how a person has how a person is working in his environment. A biomechanism based analysis would be when you're trying to lift a particular weight, how much force you're trying to put in, your body mechanics towards it. A multi-aspect method would be when you have a questionnaire based on how much strain or how much would you rate, like when you strongly agree or when you strongly disagree to how much a work would affect your health. So this is like a quick overview of the best desk posture that you could use for a pain-free back. So they say that your computer screen has to be almost like 20 to 24 inches away from you, and the screen should start right at your eye level, and it should be either at your eye level and below it. So you just have to make sure that your monitor is at a distance so you're not straining your eyes, and it is slightly tilted so you avoid those reflections as well. When you're sitting, it is most important that your arms are at a 90-degree angle, just so you don't like try to flex it too much and then end up hurting your wrist when you're trying to type or use the mouse. When you have a chair, make sure it has a backrest, armrest, and it has an adjustable height, because not every one of us are of the same height. So these tables and chairs are made for like an average height, but most of the chairs come with an adjustable height adjustment. Also, the legs have to be parallel to the floor. When you're able to touch your feet to the floor, that is the most important, because if I'm short, if I'm not able to reach the floor, you could make an adjustment by just adding a step stool or a footrest underneath, so you can maintain the 90-degree angle at your knee and your elbow. Another important thing would be taking a break every 30 minutes to 1 hour. So the break doesn't have to be a very long break, but it can be a quick break when you just stand up, stretch a little bit, close your eyes, and just go forward with your work then. So just to go over the most important points would be your desk height. If you're sitting at a table, if you're working for long hours, you want your table height to be almost 29 to 30 inches and your computer screen to be 20 to 24 inches away from you. Your elbows and knees bend to 90 degrees just so you maintain a good posture. If you're not as tall, if your feet doesn't touch the ground, make sure you have a footstool just so you can put your feet on the stool. So now this is another important thing. When you're at a desk, you have your computer, you have a landline as well, just so you know you can answer calls and make sure everybody is connected. So now I'm right-handed. Okay, if I'm right dominant, I have my mouse to the right, I have my computer right in front of me, I have my phone to the right side as well. Now I have a call, I answer using my right hand. Suddenly I remember, oh, I have to make a note of this. I do this and I use my right hand, which is incorrect. Rather, I'll keep my phone on my non dominant side, which will be my left side. If I get a call, I can answer using my left hand and still continue using my dominant hand to type or to use the mouse. If you feel that you're using the phone for too long, a headset would be better. So your hands are free, you just have the headset and you can go forward with your work. So we just came up with this very interesting acronym ARMS: adjustment, alignment, rest, relaxation, motion, and standing and safety. So just to go forward, like for an example, if if I'm a researcher who has a lot of studies to be reviewed before I could give a proposal to the board for a review, I'm sitting for long hours trying to find literature to support my proposal. So if I'm sitting for long hours, and now because of the COVID situation, we're all working from home. So I feel, okay, let me just relax on my couch and let me get my laptop on my lap and just go ahead and find literature to support it. But that would be incorrect for a long term. If you're doing it for a little while, it's understandable. But if you're sitting for 8 hours at a stretch in your couch, all slouched, it's not helping you anyway. So adjustment and alignment would be like getting a table and a chair for your workplace and trying to maintain that posture and align yourself in a way that you're comfortable sitting for 8 hours with some rest breaks. The second one would be rest and relaxation. So now you know you're on your computer for 8 hours in a day. You know you're straining your eyes, you're straining your back and your neck as well. So you would take mini rest breaks that would be like 15 seconds of just closing your eyes and then trying to open it back again, stretches, moving around, which is the third most important point, motion. It is important not to just stay at a place. In fact, it is good and it is proven that it is beneficial for your health if you can stand up and move around a little. Standing in safety would be another part where you know that you have to be at a place like your computer, you have to be by your desk for a long time. Standing up or even having your table adjusted to a standing table would be good here. So most of us are used to like the regular tables which come with a chair, your laptop and everything is on the desk, you're sitting right in front of it. But if you could make adjustments where the table could be adjusted just like you would adjust a chair, where you wanted to take a rest, you can sit. But if you wanted to stand up for a little while, you can bring up the table and stand and work on it. So, quick tips would be to keep a footrest below, to visit your coworker to deliver a message to ensure motion. This is very important. What we do is, okay, if I'm working and I have other people who I have to deliver a message to, I would use the company messaging and I would just deliver the message or send an email. But if you know that your coworker is right there, you can stand up, go ahead and talk to him and just deliver the message. That would ensure motion, standing, and the rest that you needed. Take a micro break every 30 minutes. Try to stretch your arms and legs while you take the break, and close your eyes to avoid any screen exposure. These are just some pictures where you can like stretch your arms, you can try and move your back to the side, shrug your shoulders, your wrist as well, because you're typing, your hands your wrist gets compressed. It is important to move your wrists. Try to move your leg to the side, your back, and try to bring out your shoulder, stretch it out wide. Office stretches to save your spine as well. It is important to like just side bend to both sides, back stretch, bring out your arm in front. If you're standing up, try to bend your knee and pull it back. Try to move your neck to both sides and bring your hands forward. Another important thing would be, these would be the physical aspects, but try to drink as much water as possible. If you have stairs to climb, that would be good because that would ensure motion in your lower legs as well. And try to come out of your office space, try to get some fresh air and then come back. So these are some of the most important points to ensure that you have good health while you're at your workplace. And also, this would ensure good quality of work, productivity, and overall success of your institution. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Jacqlene, for this wonderful presentation. Short and very informative. And yeah, I did learn a lot of things. And thank you so much. This is something that if we plan to be a long-term researcher, these things are very, very important. So thank you so much for the presentation once again. At this time, I would request, if there is any question, I would request to post it, or if you want to ask it directly, you may. Meanwhile, I can ask you a question, Dr. Jacqlene. I don't see any question
Yes,
right now.
sure.
So here's the question, Dr. J. What is your advice on researchers or anyone who spends uh, you know, several hours on chair or in the office,
Right.
which is of course not the very comfortable place to be in, but then work, duties and all that we require. I have been seeing some of those. I follow a few sports athletes and all that, and I have noticed that they use something called a digital therapy machine. It's a portable digital therapy machine, and they put it in those areas which they feel is stressed. For example, if I'm sitting for many hours, and
Yeah.
if I'm stressed on my back, so I just put those patches on my back and start those things. And some I don't know how it works, but what do you
Yeah.
recommend? Do you think I should buy it? At least I can ask for myself.
So, what happens is when you buy these machines, you tend to get used to them. So, your body is getting used to something that is external and not something that would come from within. So, if I were in a situation like this, I would most likely recommend trying to do those stretches by yourself instead of relying on a device to remind you.
Mhm.
So your body gets used to the device, and then if you go without it, you know for sure you're not going to actually like work on your posture. So those devices would be good for short term, but if you plan on using it long term, your body gets used to it. So I wouldn't recommend that for a long term basis. But like you posted a question saying, for researchers who are sitting for a long time, what would be good? So even I have, like, I'm a physical therapist, and my work consists of documentation where I'm working on the computer and I'm working with patients. So definitely it is not as much time as a researcher would spend on a computer. But what I usually do is I try, if I have like a standing table, I try to adjust the height and stand for some time and do my work on the computer. So that ensures like I'm getting my upright posture. Also, when I'm sitting, I can like try to move my legs and also try to hold on to like there comes like a sponge ball that you can just keep by your desk to ensure some wrist motions. So that's how you can keep even a TheraBand. If you just tie it to your armrest, you can use it when you're taking your micro break. So that ensures some motion, some movement, and it's not like you have to think about it, but it's right there. So whenever you see it, you can use it, take a quick break.
All right. Thank you so much for the explanation.
Mhm.
Related to that, we have a question. How do
Right.
we initiate an exercise plan during office hours?
So, yes, that's a good question. Like what we did was every morning we had like a 2 or 3 minute exercise session when each person would come up. Like if we have 10 of us in our team, one of us would come ahead and have like a group session. So you can plan something where each one of you can so if I'm one of the researchers, maybe Monday would be my day where I just come up and say let's have a quick session where we're trying to move around, like some movements for your upper extremity and your lower extremity that would ensure motion. So you're also engaging other people and it's not restricted to just one person in your group.
Hmm. Okay, it becomes an exercise for
A
the
group
entire community,
activity.
yeah, group
Yes,
activity.
right.
Thank you so much. We have another question here. How can research enhance working condition in an institution? Or what kind of research could be done to enhance working condition?
Right. So there have been many researchers based on postural analysis, and I remember um, one of my colleagues as well. She was working on a research based on postural analysis. So we have softwares where we can actually click pictures and see how your body is aligned. So for the question that is asked, what kind of research could be done to enhance working condition? For that, we have researchers based on most commonly affected joints, most commonly affected postural conditions that a person could face at a workplace. So these researchers could be good support for the researchers who are working at your institution.
Thank you. Related to that, we have a colleague, and she mentions that she has done a research on ergonomics, and she found that there is a lack of awareness among Indian employees and employers regarding such trending topics at workplace. So,
Right,
how can we create such kind of awareness and have implementation of same, especially in Indian context?
right. So, like I said, ergonomics has three aspects: physical, mental, and the social part. So, what happens is most likely you will hear people say, "Oh, I have a neck pain, I have a back pain," but you won't see people coming up with, "I'm actually stressed about certain situation," or "I'm feeling depressed about a lot of pressure coming from work." So people most likely talk about things that you can see or something that is physical because you can talk about it more openly. But they are not very happy talking about the social pressures that go around at your workplace. So for me, I would encourage talking about this, because when you try and talk to a person, that is when you can expect that person to come up with their problems. So when you have like an analysis, basically a questionnaire, which is, you can say you can have it like an anonymous questionnaire where people are answering those questions. You can try to accumulate the data to see if people are actually happy about their work environment. So if I'm not really keen on disclosing who I am when I'm telling about it, that would be good for everyone to actually give in their honest opinions about their work environment. So I would, as a person, say maybe so and so thing is not working out fine for me. You would know if this is like a common topic for most of them, that is like something that has to be looked upon.
Mhm. Right. Thank you so much for
You
mentioning
would.
that. At Spicer, we also have research collegiums. We try our best to bring in, or say like, we try our best to have an interpersonal relationship with all our colleagues. There are people who like to walk in privately and have discussions, maybe whatever the discussion may be. We do that, but this is good. Now this opens another way that we also not express academics, but we also express other things that affects our academic journey, right? Including what you said, the mental health. And thank you so
Right.
much for mentioning that. We have a question here.
Mhm.
Can you throw some light on fibromyalgia and carpal tunnel syndrome?
Definitely, yes. So, fibromyalgia, when you have like multiple joint pains, it is most likely like an immune system reaction where your multiple joints in your body hurts, and it is like a chronic condition which happens over a period of time. It is very difficult to diagnose because most of them would go for, okay, maybe they have arthritis, or they have like joint pain or something. But most likely people have fatigue, that is, they get tired very easily. They have pain, which is like unbearable at times, and they need frequent rest breaks. That would be like fibromyalgia, which is like an inflammatory condition. When it comes to carpal tunnel, the wrist is like a small area where you have nerves, your vessels, and everything around there, your tendons. So when you tend to put pressure, like when you're working on your keyboard or your mouse, the area around your wrist tends to get compressed. So the vessels, the nerves, everything gets compressed. Your median nerve is what helps you move your wrist, like bend your wrist. And when that gets compressed is when you have a carpal tunnel syndrome. And this is very common in pregnant women as well, because you tend to swell up, and that's when your nerves get compressed and affects your movement. So these are the most common, like especially carpal tunnel is very common in people who use who use computer very often.
Thank you, Dr. Jacqlene, for the answer. I don't have this carpal tunnel syndrome, but I definitely go through back issues, a lot of upper back pain, because now I have changed a lot of habits. I
Mm.
have every hour I take a break of 2-3 minutes or just take a walk.
Right.
But then I hope people who have those syndromes may get well.
Definitely.
Um, we have a question and says, does weather affect ergonomics?
Yes. So weather would be important because extremes of anything would not be tolerated well. So, especially if you see in humid conditions, people don't feel as good. If it is like extremely hot outside, if it is dry heat, your nose tends to bleed. Or if it is extremely cold, you're not able to focus on your work because you're constantly thinking about, oh, I'm not warm enough to sit in a place. Um, Weather definitely does affect your situation, especially with pain. Colder conditions worsen your pain,
Hmm.
even though they say like icing would help, but the for weather it's completely different. So definitely weather makes a difference. If you could maintain a work temperature which is like in Fahrenheit, I could say like 72 or within 68 to 72 Fahrenheit would be good. um, Also for like people who have breathing issues, if you can maintain a humid environment where it is not too difficult and it's not just dry air that you're breathing in, that would be good.
Thank you, Dr. Jacqueline. Following that response, we have a question from us, Dr. Sanjeevan Narsu, the Vice Chancellor.
Yes.
He thank you for the presentation. And the question is, can you suggest few exercises to strengthen lungs to cope with COVID-19?
Definitely, yes.
Yeah.
So we have different breathing techniques. If someone comes with a complaint of fatigue where the person is getting tired and he is having shortness of breath when he's walking short distances, so we have pursed lip breathing where you take a deep breath in through your nose and try to blow out through your mouth. So when you purse your lips, the alveoli in your lungs, they get a larger area to come out and you're able to expire more air out of your lungs. So that's how you can relax better. So for relaxation, you would use pursed lip breathing. Now, if you have like supposedly someone has a lung collapse, especially in COVID-19, your lungs get affected, certain part of your lung or the entire part could be affected. So what we do is segmental breathing or even like lateral costal expansions where you're keeping your hands behind. This increases the surface area. You're also able to like move your hands when you take a deep breath in, and then when you exhale. So this ensures like even expansion of your lungs, and when you're breathing out, there's enough carbon dioxide coming out. When you try to raise your hand up, take a deep breath in, and when you exhale, you can bring your hands down. That would ensure equal expansion of your lungs if you have trouble breathing.
Mhm. Wow, thank you so much for the response. Yeah.
Also, we have like a spirometer, but that would be recommended for someone who is having shortness of breath at a higher level, and that you would measure with like a pulse oximeter. So a spirometer would be good where you have the device in your mouth. It has a ball. When you take a deep breath in, you're able to see the ball go up to what level you want it to go up. So that is usually used in like intensive care units or respiratory units where people have complaints of shortness of breath and they are not able to work or even like sit up even sitting up becomes difficult because that requires a lot of air to be breathed in to maintain that posture. So a spirometer would be good if you're having difficulty in breathing as well.
All right. Thank you so much. This may be the last question.
Sure. Yeah.
This comes from Dr. Abhijay. He says, along with the stretch and maintaining posture, can you
Mhm.
please suggest some physical exercises which can be done on a
Definitely.
daily basis, and how to tackle mental pressure that we face in the process of doing research? How to
Definitely.
cope with that? If you can suggest, it will be beneficial. Yeah, I think he speaks for all.
Yes, of course. Like even when I was working on my research project, I remember those days where you feel like, oh my goodness, I won't be able to meet the deadline. So what I used to do is like how you also explain what my likes and my interests were, like music or meeting family and friends. So I used to take like a quick walk. A walk would be the best kind of activity that you could do. So every morning, if you can make it a habit to just go for a quick walk, that would be a good workout for you, a good change of environment as well. If you feel like the work environment can be very stressful where you're not able to concentrate, you can have some calming music. There have been cases where I've worked with people where music helped them move. So music therapy also has a very important role in your work. If you can have calming music or music that helps you focus better, that would definitely make a difference in your work environment. So definitely going for a walk. If you have a dog, you can go out for a walk with your dog. So when you walk your dog, you're basically going for a walk yourself, and that helps.
Well, thank you
So
so much. Maybe in future we may require a workshop on how to, because we never think in this way. But yes, definitely, I am making a lot of changes in my
yes,
own lifestyle. Thank you so much for your presentation and answering all the questions.
I
At
hope
this
I've
time we
answered
have,
everyone.
sorry ma'am.
I hope I've answered everyone's questions.
Yes, all the questions, thank you so
Okay.
much. At this time we have Pastor A.S. Warikin with us. He will be giving the closing remarks, and he will close this session with a word of prayer. Pastor?
Morning, and thank you for this privilege. Thank you so much, Dr. Jacqlene Johnson, for that wonderful presentation. And I'm sure those of us who have attended this morning have been blessed with your presentation. Has also enlightened us and showed us a lot of things that we should be more careful of and what we can do as we work on our daily responsibilities as well as on the research. And so it has been you so much for that presentation. And I'm sure all of us will not be just hearers of the knowledge, but we will be doers and put what we have learned today into practice. That the next time we meet again, Dr. Jacqlene, we will be able to tell you that yes, we have improved a lot from the first time we met you. Yes. And so once again, thank you so much. It really helps us to know the importance and the significance of this topic, which I personally never thought of. And I think ergonomical. When I looked at that, I was thinking maybe this has something to do with economics. And then it has nothing to do with economics. But eventually, I think indirectly it does have, because if we don't take care of our health, I think economically we are adversely affected. So I think it's a wonderful presentation. Thank you so much for taking your time off. It has been a blessing to us. And I'm sure, as I said, we will be doers of what we hear and not just hearers. So may God bless you, and thank you for blessing us this morning.
Thank you,
Thank you so
Pastor.
much for the opportunity as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Pastor Warikin. Maybe you can close this session with a word of prayer.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah. We pray. Oh, gracious Father in heaven, what a blessing it has been step into this new week with such a blessed thoughts presented to us from Dr. Jacqlene Johnson, your daughter. Thank you for bringing our notice that we need to take care of our bodies as we attend to our responsibilities. For it is only through our good health we can glorify your name. We pray in a special way for Dr. Jacqlene as she serves and minister. Bless her, that her life will truly be a blessing to all around. Bless Spicer and all of us who are serving. May our service be unselfish service for your honor and glory. Lead us through this day, for we pray.
Thank you, Pastor Verikan. And once again, I would like to thank each one of you for joining in, starting from Dr. Sanjeevan. Thank you so much for joining in, sir, and being part of it and participating. Thank you, Dr. Jacqlene, for your presentation. We are truly blessed. Thank you, Pastor Verikan, and all of you who were here. Thank you for your questions. I also want to thank Dr. Jason Israel for the platform and his team, Brother Surendra and all. Thank you so much for joining in. Please be encouraged and join for our next webinar, and let's do it more and more, and with more participants joining in. Thank you so very much.